athletes are on the Indonesian island of Java. They're about to face competition number 11, and the stakes are higher than ever. So far, Raiko's in the lead with 3 wins. Brad, Richard, and Jason are right behind him with 2 victories each. Mark has 1. Corey has yet to score. With 2 contests to go, the grand title is still within reach for 4 of the athletes. But first, they all must master one of the most violent combat sports in the world, Pencak Silat. This is where they'll train, the West Java village of Sikaramat. The people here are rice farmers, and like much of Indonesia, devout Muslims.
Sadaya tamu anu parantos jaga sumping kaya tempat, mudah-mudahan sing selamatkeun sadayana. Amin.
It's a friendly welcome, but the same can't be said for Pencak Silat, which the athletes are about to see for the first time. This is martial arts, Indonesian style. Luckily for the athletes, they won't be fighting with deadly weapons. Instead, they'll be taught to kill with their bare hands. They got just 10 days to train, but if the athletes prove themselves good enough, they'll be sent to an elite Pencak Academy, where they'll take on the fiercest fighters in the region. The athletes are in awe of what they're seeing.
This is just blowing my mind. No way.
At least one of them is custom built for this sport. Mark's a kickboxer, which should give him an advantage.
This is a dream for me. An absolute dream.
As always, the athletes are staying with local families. And this time, Brad feels especially at home.
Beautiful house.
Thank you.
He's the only father among the athletes, and after almost a year on the road, he's homesick.
It's definitely going to be a treat to have some kids around me, because, man, I'm missing my little one. Man, I'm missing my little one. I have 1 2-year-old.
Yes.
And then 1
3 years old.
1 still coming.
Good.
The next morning, the athletes are issued training uniforms and a piece of white cloth. Its meaning will soon become all too clear.
What's this for?
Kain, yo canda kalapa, ulah hilap, ya. Kalapa, tanda hilap di lapangnya.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
The athletes will be taught by the best, Pencak Master Ki Guru. The first thing they must do is give him their white cloths.
Hidup ngarti naon hartina kain bodas. Nah, hidup kabeh menta dikurepkeun tukal kulawan bodas ieu. Eta ngandung harti hidup kabeh menta dikurepkeun tukal kulawan bodas ieu.
Ki Guru demands total obedience from his students, but one of the athletes isn't ready to submit.
I'm a pretty skeptical person, I trust myself and very few other people. And he's asking for our complete trust straight away, which is totally alien to me.
Our athletes are on the Indonesian island of Java, learning to become martial arts warriors. But they're already butting heads with their teacher, who wants them to fight now.
That's definitely not what I would call control.
Or never.
Boleh saya tahu apa yang kalian diskusikan selama ini?
We all gave you our white robe, and I think that we understand that if you think this is the best thing to progress our training, then I think we're all happy to do it.
We don't particularly want to hurt each other, but me and Brad have agreed to go at it.
If you feel that I'm prepared for this moment, I'm willing to accept it.
Brad and Mark are usually fierce competitors. But this time, both seem to be pulling their punches.
Stop!
Next in, Jason and Corey. But Jason, the most aggressive of the athletes, is also reluctant to fight.
Even though none of us really said it, I believe all of us had a pretty good understanding that, you know what, first day, I'm not gonna hurt you, you try not to hurt me, and let's see how far we can push this.
Fight!
Jason and Corey's bout lasts all of 5 seconds. Now, Richard must face Ryko, but there's a problem.
Personally, I don't want to know how to hit someone most effectively. I don't really want to know how to break someone's arm.
Until now, Ryko's been a tough competitor in stick fighting, wrestling, and kick fighting. But he's also a devout Christian, and for the first time, he's confronting a tribal sport that's simply too violent for his beliefs.
If I need to make a clear decision now, my decision is I don't fight.
With Ryko refusing to obey Ki Guru, Mark takes his place.
Fight!
Stop!
Again, the fight's over in seconds. It's an unsettling start for the athletes.
You don't take a dude who doesn't know nothing about anything about what the hell they're doing and throw him straight into combat. Call that suicide.
One of us is going to get seriously hurt, and that's not good. I mean, potentially it could be career-ending for some people. It only takes a big kick to a knee joint or an ankle joint, and someone's livelihood is over.
With just 6 days to go until the competition, the athletes are thrown into an intensive training regimen. And despite defying Ki Guru by refusing to fight, Ryko is still among them.
He could have easily said, "You've disappointed me, you've let me down, who do you think you are, you didn't trust me." But he took the time to explain the philosophy to me and said he still wanted me to take what I can from Pinchak Silla.
Despite their shaky start, the athletes begin to get the hang of it.
You know you're getting somewhere when you're all doing the same thing and you know you're doing something right. And it's amazing. It's amazing that we're all coming so far so quickly.
In addition to mastering the moves, the athletes must also learn to endure extreme pain. Masters of Pencak Silat take very seriously the idea of no pain, no gain. Pencak fighters must learn to ignore the agony of combat before they step into the ring.
Just banging it non-stop, hard. And in the end I just had to pull my hand away, I couldn't handle it.
It's definitely painful, but he's not really a man you can very easily show pain in front of.
I do know how to tolerate pain, and I can handle it. I know I can handle a lot more pain than all the others.
It's excruciating. No way to describe it. My hands look like gargoyles. Yeah, I can still feel it. Need a bit of ice?
When they're not training with their guru, the athletes must work for their hosts. Brad is helping his family plant a rice crop.
It seems like when we first started this whole journey, only thing I was focused on is winning. But after a while, I realized there's a hell of a lot more to get out of this than just winning an event. And it seems as soon as I've made that mind change, my eyes opened up to everything that's been going on around me. You're planting my ass into a spot and I can't go nowhere, man.
Learning the martial art of Pencak Silat is proving to be one of the hardest disciplines the athletes have faced so far. And now Ki Guru is about to raise the stakes even higher.
Baris datang hiji lalaki gandang. Hidup kabeh kudu nembongkeun naon rupa nu dipibanda ku diri hidup di antara maraneh supaya hidup bisa menangkeun sababaraha pituduh ngeunaan bela diri.
Tomorrow, the competition is on the line for the athletes. If any of them fail to make the grade, they're done. It's day 4, and the athletes are at a turning point. Only those who impress the new guru will be taken to his elite training school to be prepared for the competition.
How awesome would that be if I made it, man? That would be freaking sweet.
This is the guru who will decide the athlete's destiny. His name is Ah.
I think that Ki Guru has really pulled a personal favor here, and I'm going to treat this new guy with as much respect as I've treated Ki Guru, because I think he has a lot to share with us.
Ah is eager to hear about the athlete's progress, especially one of them.
Reiko? Hidup tangku dina keyakinan moal ngiluk latihan tang nalika
I'm, well aware of the fact that I chose not to fight the first day. But since then, I've had time to think about it. I've spoken to Ki Guru. I think it comes down to how I approach it. And if I approach it as an aggressive fight where I'm out to hurt somebody, that doesn't sit right with me. But if I approach it as a sport, then I'm okay with it.
Wan Cina datang, pasang giri tanding.
Yes.
Reiko's first fight is against Brad. The object is to take your opponent down. The fight will also be judged on technical ability. It's a close contest. Then, a frustrated Reiko tries a leg sweep. It fails.
I tried to take Brad down with a double leg sweep, but he's probably the last man who's going to go down to that. He's too heavy.
Next, Corey and Mark step into the arena. Though Corey is the weakest fighter, he holds his own against the martial arts specialist. then, Mark's experience comes through.
I think that we both performed very well and showed what we've learned over the past week.
The final fight is Jason against Richard. In a barroom brawl, it would be no contest. But in Pinchak, technique trumps aggression. Despite his huge weight advantage, Jason struggles against his more agile opponent. Has seen enough. The athletes who've made the cut are asked to step forward.
Red. Rico. Mark. Richard.
Just 4 are chosen. Richard, Brad, Mark, and Ryko. But Corey is out, and so is Jason.
I'm confused. Yeah, I threw a couple punches, but I try to keep it controlled and pretty much...
The Pinchak competition is just 48 hours away. 4 of the athletes have been judged good enough to compete. That's if they can survive this elite Pinchak's Lot training camp.
He goes full tilt.
Oh, it's crazy.
The athletes have already had pain endurance training, but this is a master class.
I trust no one in my life enough to do something like this. You gotta joke me.
I've seen it all.
Now properly spooked, the athletes are sent to their huts on the hill. Practice hasn't even begun, but one of them is already...
Today they said I've had a really just groggy stomach and really bad head, just this excruciating headache. And also I vomited last night and yeah, I just feel generally like a bag of crap.
Richards picked a bad moment to get sick. As soon as they're settled, all the athletes are called down to the river for their next challenge. As part of their mental training for the competition, the athletes will have to sit still in the river for 4 hours. They'll have to endure body-numbing cold, snakes, and biting spiders.
Careful of the snakes.
Even worse, daylight gives way to total darkness.
As soon as the sun dropped, everything completely changed. You couldn't see what was around you. I kept having things bump into me. I had bats swooping in front of my head because all the mosquitoes attacking my face.
Mark's also got visitors.
Ah, what's that? Ah! Ow!
I've got spiders above me, skimming on the water in front of my eyes. And I wish I hadn't seen those. Ah! Yeah, they do freak me out.
But for Richard, the biggest challenge is his illness.
Unfortunately, I went in thinking I'm feeling pretty feeble. Within half an hour, I was, really having a sort of internal battle whether or not to stay in there.
It's not long before the cold claims its first victim, but it's not Richard. Mark has had enough.
There's a competition tomorrow, and I've just done an hour, so I don't feel I need to do any more than that.
Now there's only 3 left. The stalemate holds another 30 minutes. Brad is the second man out.
I did an hour and 35, and I think that's pretty decent, man.
Now only 2 remain. But Richard is struggling.
Rich is too young to get this mental victory over me. I've got to keep him in his rightful place as the young dog. He's got to learn tricks from the old dog.
Finally, Richard gives in. Ryko's proved his point.
2 hours 42, apparently. But I think if I needed to, I could have done 4 hours. I couldn't have gone a whole night, but I could have kept going a while longer.
Ryko may have taken bragging rights, but this test isn't a competition. The man AA wants to see is Richard.
Richard, AA, bunga kacida, gumbira, terus, dedeh, ningali hidup ngabogaan semangat, tandana hidup teh nya baparus, arus, sagednya. It's a very great honor to be told that, and I want to reward your faith in picking me for this competition.
There's still more suffering ahead for the athletes as they stomach one final day of training and pain. It's the morning of the final fight, and the athletes are up early for their last practice. But Ryko is not with them. He's down at the river with a problem.
We were just practicing just now, and me and Mark both tried to throw each other at the same time, but my foot was still planted in the ground behind him. So as he twisted me around, my knee just completely twisted again.
Ryko may be the best all-around athlete, but he's also proving surprisingly vulnerable to injury. This is now the second problem with his knee, first injured in Senegal.
Come on, you! I can't do it. I can't do it. Same bloody injury as Senegal. Border people saying, oh, just don't worry about it, you know, rest, just...
The competition begins in just 12 hours. Desperate to take part, Ryko turns to Kiguru for help.
Serious. Just think about your health, not competition.
Ryko doesn't know it yet, but he snapped his anterior cruciate ligament. But Ryko can't bring himself to pull out. Half an hour later, he's back in training. Together, the athletes work on kicks, punches, and technique. keeps working their pain endurance. This time, with a blowpipe. The athletes are almost ready, but before they can fight, they must pledge an oath to obey the Penchak Code.